Podcast is intended for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those of the panelists and do not reflect in any way those of the podcast partners, sponsors, or affiliates. Enjoy.
Boxingvoice.com.
What broke him down? Was it just the body punching? When I was hitting him with body punching, I heard him actually, he was crying in there. You were saying that Gibbs was crying when you hit him? Yes. When did that happen? And perhaps the fourth round on.
Boxingvoice.com.
So that you knew you had him by that time. Absolutely, but I knew you were tough and you were taking those punches.
Productions.
Making women gestures like, oh.
Let's go, champ.
Welcome back. Quick pause. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Boxing Voice. I'm your host, Nestor Gibbs. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at NestGTO. Catch me undefeated on Border Wars, holding that IBF title, like my man Errol Spence, who put on a great performance last night. We will be talking to you about that and see exactly where should he go. Talk about his post-fight interviews, talk a little bit about Robert Easter Jr. and Javier Fortuna, Marcus Browne making a statement performance, Billy Joe Saunders staying active, and we got more headlines to bring you. I'm going to head on out to the Golden State, to the home of my co-host, whose intro I still do not have. Hopefully he's on point.
Don't have it? Oh my God, that's so sad. Don't worry, I got it.
Thaboxingvoice production.
This is a beautiful performance against a very tough guy in Michael Johnson. How do you feel about it?
Fuck that. Conor McGregor.
Boxingvoice.com.
You know me, Larry. From a wicked entrance, from a flip over the rock into a knockout. Now, when the main thing is, I just help the guy. I wish.
Boxingvoice.com.
Yes, the hipsters here. Haters beware. And Errol Spence, who's definitely not a guy that has a lot of haters right now, put on a clinic last night against Lamont Peterson, the durable, always perennial contender in boxing right now. And obviously the co-main event, Robert Easter Jr. picking up that narrow, controversial decision against Javier Fortuna. Marcus Browne picking up an emphatic win. Billy Joe Saunders getting an announced fight against Martin Murray. Oh, man, so much to get into. Terry Flanagan versus Maurice Hooker on that card as well. And we're going to chop it up. It's going to be a fun, jam-packed show. Good to have the callers back as well. You know, with Ness back, you know, in LA for Border Wars, we had no callers. It's good to have the callers back. You know, like guys like Amin and the like. You know, it's going to be good to hear them and hear their opinions on the event last night and what we saw in the ring.
Definitely. Well, let's get right into it, man. Let's play Earl's little soundbite here and see, can't we, I guess, recreate the emotions that he sent through boxing fans.
What would you like to do with your next fight?
Everybody know I'm waiting on Sometimes Thurman. You know, I've been waiting for a long time. Since I was 15 and 0, I've been calling this guy out, and he keep making excuse after excuses. You need to hurry up and come back, you know, fight a little tune-up fight, and then let's fight. I'm waiting on him. Let's get it on, man.
So, Matt, Sometimes Thurman, he said. I know we spoke about it yesterday, but it's something that I really enjoyed. I think it's something that's going to stick around. It's something for the boxing fans to grab onto, kind of a narrative for the media, you know, a storyline. I like the way this one is marinating. And I'll stop there. I have other things to talk about in this little Errol Spence speech.
I think the sometime line was perfect. I mean, obviously that line is instantly quotable. That's instantly a meme. In today's age of 180 characters, or now was it 280 characters or less on Twitter, you know, you need quick little bits of information for promos like that. And when you're going to see the Thurman versus Spence promo, either the end of this year or 2019, they're going to have that sometime clip in there, you know, mixed in with montages of them, you know, knocking out people and hurting people. You're going to hear that. You're definitely going to hear that 100%. I thought it was a stroke of genius for a guy that usually isn't the best on the mic or is the most charismatic on the mic. Spence is continuing to evolve in that category. And he also, I think, did very well in the first take before the fight as well. He's continuing to evolve in that category.
Yeah, man, he seems to have his foot on Thurman's neck, man. This would all be good and exciting for me if Thurman weren't hurt. So how should boxing fans be receiving the pressure that Errol is putting on both Keith Thurman and his fans?
I don't know how they should perceive that or take it. I don't think I think how they are is very different. Because it's very noticeable how they are reacting to this fight, the marination, the build-up, and so forth. The majority of the boxing community, in my opinion, is seemingly pro-Spence and anti-Thurman. That the majority of the boxing fandom and community, the industry, whatever it may be, they're on the hype train for Spence. They've jumped off the Thurman train maybe a while ago. I don't know what it is, but they're thinking that Thurman's ducking him. They're thinking Thurman is sometime Thurman, not one-time Thurman. That he hasn't knocked out a elite level guy, and Errol Spence is continuing to finish guys. You're going to hear that narrative, and I think the fans, no matter what I think they should do, what they are doing is backing Spence 100%. Whatever Spence is doing is correct.
So, excuse me, what did you think of the performance? Did he live up to, I guess, all the hype surrounding him?
I think so. I mean, first off, he didn't lose a single round, in my opinion. I really don't like using boxing statistics, like punch statistics. But he landed, I think, on CopyBox, I think it was 50% of his power punches. That's an astounding stat to have in a fight when you land every other punch, basically. That's a power punch. So he was damaging Lamont Peterson. Me and you were noting on the live fight chat, Lamont's face was red and getting swollen up by the third round, fourth round, maybe at the most. Spence instantly found his range, instantly started just boxing him, picking him apart. His work rate was not a lot, but to me it was impressive because to me it showed composure. To me it showed that he was an elite level thinker in there as well as a fighter. That he wasn't going in there trying to bum rush Lamont Peterson. He was picking him apart. Single shots. He was outboxing him. Errol Spence delivered a shutout performance, a dominant performance. Errol Spence delivered on everything that you want to see if he is the truth in your eyes.
I did like the way that he stood composed behind the jab. He worked it up and down. He kept shooting that left hand to the body. And then he just really picked it up with the body work. But I think that ultimately the issue for Peterson was just he was not able to hurt Spence or affect Spence.
Agreed. I think, and plus he just seemed like he wasn't composed in there almost in a way. Like Lamont never felt comfortable in there from the looks of it. Like he never was getting behind the jab. He was content with backing up with his hands up in the high guard position, eating shots. To me, he did everything wrong. All the wrong things he needed to do in this fight, he did. All the right things I wanted him to do, all the right things I know he could do, he didn't do. He didn't execute a game plan at all. The same Lamont that we know that is hot and cold, that has off nights at the highest level, showed up. This is the Lamont we know. The Lamont Peterson has a clear ceiling where he is a bottom half of the top 10 guy, puts on good fights, occasionally good, really great performances, but he's never going to beat the A guys. That's not Lamont.
No, I mean, look, it's hard to disagree because even when you said occasionally great performances, I said to myself, really, who'd he beat up in great fashion? That's on this level, because
I'll put it this way: occasionally great performances against maybe like a C and D level guys, absolutely. Like a David Avanesian, he looked like a really
and versus a Kendall Holt, yes, but that's what I'm saying. On this level,
he looks like a average fighter almost. unfortunately.
So
We
what's
all have
next for
talent.
Lamont? What's next for him? Because we know him to take plenty of time off.
True. I don't know if he's going to take some time off or not. I don't think it really matters. My thing is that Lamont can easily be here for the next 3 or 4 years, maybe 5 years, collect paychecks, beat top 20 guys, here and there, fight 3 times a year, and make a living. Like, Lamont may not be that guy to be a champion, but being at worst 7
Well, that's what I'm trying to say, Matt. The man he's only fought twice in the last 3 years.
Wow. I didn't realize it was that infrequent. Hopefully he,
like after Felix Diaz, which you thought he lost, he took 2 years off before he fought David Avanese in February of 2017, and he just came back damn near a year later.
Was it an injury? Was it an injury?
No clue.
I could probably look that up after
it wouldn't matter.
It does matter to me. Let's say if it's an ACL tear, that's very different. If he's
I'm just saying, what's next for him, because he seems to always take these breaks off.
I doesn't matter if he takes the breaks off. I think what's next for him is to continue to be a perennial top contender of the division and put on decent performances. Continue to beat top 15.
Yeah, but how do you do that if you keep taking a year off? Like, it's, remember, he missed the whole 2012 too. Like, it's in his DNA to take off years.
Again, I think that shouldn't be an issue, because if he comes back in a year, he can collect another paycheck. In my opinion.
All right. So who would you like to see him next? What's next for Lamont Peterson? Answer the question.
Obviously, I think you want to sort of gear him towards maybe like an Amir Khan fight, that not being the next fight. But that's
a good fight for Amir, being as though they have that history, and Peterson now looking more beatable. We spoke about his inactivity. There's a storyline with Khan in the rematch.
Maybe like a Sammy Vasquez, another guy that's coming off a loss, been away for a bit, been looking for a fight.
Those are the guys that Lamont beats. I like a Collazo, though. What about Collazo? I don't know why I'm so high on Collazo. I just feel like he gives up a better performance.
I feel like he's going to be geared towards another big name. Even though he's coming off the layoff because of the injury, he did get a big win in his last fight against Sammy Vasquez, who I just mentioned. I'm assuming Luis Collazo is going to position himself for a good paycheck, assuming at the Barclays Center for somebody, maybe Danny Garcia after the Brandon Rios fight, something like that. If that's not in the books, if that's not on the table, then yeah, I think Luis Collazo versus Lamont Peterson on paper is a fantastic fight. That would be very intriguing to watch. And that's a perfect, in my opinion, toe-for-toe Tuesday. That's what toe-to-toe Tuesdays should be in terms of main events, is those types of fights.
Lamont Peterson versus who?
Luis Collazo.
Wow, that's a toe-to-toe Tuesday, man. I think that's
what toe-to-toe Tuesdays should morph into, is those type of main events.
I mean, that would be good for us, the boxing fan, for sure.
And you put some prospects that we never heard of on the telecast. You put a recognizable contender, veteran in the main event, and then you put prospects on the rest of the card. That's what toe-to-toe Tuesday should be.
So where do you see Lamont now, I guess, after the loss?
I mean,
he was top 5, right? Errol said, Al, I only want top 5 guys.
It was not top 5. It was not.
Well,
there's no way you can argue that he was top 5.
Jeff, Errol, Danny, Sean, Lamont, Jesse, all those guys are like same after their Horn,
Okay. I definitely don't think he's number 5. I just don't think that.
Arguably.
You can maybe slip him in there, but again, I don't think.
I mean, with the inactivity, I guess it is difficult.
With this performance, you can't say he's top 5. You can't. I'm sorry.
Well, it was a past tense thing. It was.
Even then, a win against David Avanesian does not make you a top 5 welterweight. I'm sorry, Lamont Peterson.
Yeah, no, I think we're going based off overall resume, what he's done throughout his career, and assessing him versus everyone else, right? Like, we knew what would happen yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
but we also have an order, right? Like if you have Errol or Keith at the top, everyone else falls under that. And Lamont happens to fall top 10. The rumor is Jesse's going straight at a Keith Thurman. And I know, there's plenty of fighters out there too, if you're with the Al stable. So maybe these possibilities don't sound as sexy because they seem almost a bit regurgitated. But I guess just for Lamont's career's sake, right? Like maybe Lamont coming back off to face maybe Sean off the injury.
No.
Or is that too big off of a loss?
That's way too big off a loss. Sean Porter is the mandatory to Keith Thurman after this Jesse Vargas voluntary. I'm assuming Sean Porter's just going to wait for that fight. And again,
hypothetically speaking, he may not take a Thurman fight due to the hand actually being broken. Last night on the telecast, they did say it was broken.
Again, even if that is a hypothetical in your scenario, Lamont's not taking that fight. That'd be any manager worth their salt would tell Lamont, you don't take Sean after he just got beat the fuck up, and not in those words, by Errol Spence.
True.
Come on, man.
So Lamont is a good name for a guy like Omar moving up in the welterweight division, right? Actually, Omar's staying at 140, isn't he?
No. Come on, man. Omar beat Robert Guerrero by knockout at 140.
So that's a perfect fighter for a Omar, because he's a guy moving up a couple of divisions. You just don't know if he could plow through a Lamont just yet. He's still the smaller guy. No one will call him the sharpest guy, So technically, Lamont may still hold the skill department. Will Omar's youth prevail?
I think it's a fun fight. That 100% is not the next fight for Lamont Peterson. Lamont Peterson's not facing another one of Al Heyman's recognizable names who's coming off a win. Lamont's facing a relative unknown, maybe Eastern European, no name, in a tune-up.
Diego Chavez type?
Yeah, maybe Diego Chavez type. I like that, especially since Diego Chavez was just...
Adrian Granados, maybe?
No.
Too rough.
A little bit too rough. But again, those names.
DeMarco. I hear DeMarco didn't retire, and he's been winning some fights somewhere.
I don't mind that, but is DeMarco with Heyman, or is he with?
They've done business. They've been in bed together. DeMarco's got 2 wins so far.
Then I don't mind that fight at all. I know
Omar Figueroa. Go figure.
I think those like the Omar Figueroa types. I think those are a great second fight back from this loss for Lamont Peterson, not the first fight back. But in terms of your original question as to where does this put Lamont after this fight in terms of rankings, he was top 5, arguably. I don't think this really changes that much. Do we come out of this fight changing our opinion on Lamont Peterson? Not really. I think most people have a already cemented opinion on the guy as a fighter and a boxer, and that was probably reinforced, I would say, in this fight. Not taken away.
Yo, I just got caught up in BoxRec, man. Somehow there's a Dominican welterweight that just beat Carlos Molina that got deported for he was charged with some sort of sex offender charges is what I remember.
Okay.
But somehow he fought because he went from Mexico, I guess, to the Dominican Republic and fought this guy at welterweight. Molina, I don't even know how. I mean, he's as old as Laura, and he fought Laura at 54. How did he make 47 at this day and age is shocking to me. But this kid's also beat up Patrick Lopez. Is that the same? It is. But I mean, this poor Lopez has been taking some beatings. But let's get to Javier Fortuna, another Dominican. He feels he won the fight, Matt. I'll be honest. I have not been able to go back and watch this because I've been flying from Los Angeles, losing time to the East Coast to get back. And when we were there, it was just too many bodies. I mean, shout out to Compa, who came through from Los Angeles. Shout out to Info Joe, Fern Gully, Santiago, the hippity hipster. Man, who else was there, bro?
Mickey Caparelli.
Caparelli was there. Who else?
I said MVP of the trip.
Yes.
Obviously Lucy and Santiago.
So it was just too many people. The point is, it was too many people during this particular fight. It wasn't the main event, so I didn't pay close enough attention to beat the drums for my fellow brethren Javier El Abejon and say that he was robbed. I did see Robert Easter's Instagram post, and basically he says what most people say when they're in a tight fight. You can't, run and clinch and win a fight. You got to actually fight. I remember Angel said something like that versus Herrera. So I'm just saying, based off, I guess, the reaction of the fighter, I'm going to say, what the hell is going on?
Exit out BoxRec. I know BoxRec is your favorite website, but they have now instituted pop-up ads. And if you don't have an ad blocker, you cannot stop it. So please cancel out a BoxRec. Thank you.
Matt thinks he knows everything. Do you even know that I didn't even have BoxRec open?
I just...
Okay.
I don't believe you. You need more people. Come on, man.
Do you even know that I didn't have it open?
I don't believe you. No one here that's listening to the show believes that you do not have BoxRec open.
Well, listen, Matt. That seems to be totally your problem if you don't believe.
But getting back to the fight, digressing.
Did someone tell you yesterday that you're on permanent digress? You're permanently digressing from all the times you digress.
That was Mickey. But anyways, digressing. I think Fortuna can easily be given a scorecard in this fight. I don't think that's up for debate. My only issue is that, again, with the people calling robbery, if you're scoring this, which vastly what I've seen is 115, 112 scorecards for Javier Fortuna, if that's what you're giving out, that's not a robbery. I'm sorry. That's the exact opposite of a robbery is a 7-5 scorecard, where one round swings the entire fight. And if you watch the fight, there are swing rounds. There are close rounds. There's a lot of work done on the inside that's sloppy, that, it depends on the way you score a fight. This is close. This is controversial. This is 100% not a robbery. If you give it for Fortuna, I understand that. I have yet to actually score it in its entirety. But I've watched it 2 times already, and it's a close fight. It 100% is a close fight. And when you have that type of work being done, sloppy inside boxing, it's going to be close, tight rounds where it's really up to who you thought landed the better shots. But it was a fun fight. I thought it was entertaining. There's definitely the sentiment now of a overall Robert Easter Jr.'s hype now, that he has had 3 close decisions in the last 3 fights. The fact that, he thinks that Mike Garcia is ducking him, that's all a lie, blah, blah, blah. I've seen that narrative. I understand why people think that. But let's be honest, I think the guys he's fighting are tough. Javier Fortuna was an awful style matchup for Robert Easter. We all knew that going into it. So is Richard Comey. So is Dennis Shafikov. I want to see other people face top 10 lightweights in a row. I don't see a lot of guys facing 3 top 10 guys in their division in a single calendar year. So salute to Robert Easter. Tough fight, but not a robbery. Not even close.
Not a robbery. Not even close. All I know is that poor Easter has started to leave a trail of breadcrumbs.
Mm-hmm.
His last 3 fights have been in this manner.
Yes.
Tight fights, him giving up his height, him being on the inside, him being bent over. I'm not understanding what exactly is going on.
Showing no improvement as well. That's another big concern for me, is that you have a guy who, as a prospect, really hasn't changed that much. I mean, do you see any drastic improvements from when he was, fighting guys?
He's wearing an IBF title.
That's what I'm heavily concerned about. When you see a guy like Errol Spence, we see improvement. We see a sharpening of the game throughout his career. I think we've seen Robert Easter Jr. struggle as of late. Even though it's against top competition, you're right. It has been struggling, and there is a trail of breadcrumbs for the people thinking that this guy's a little bit of hype. He's not going to beat the likes of a Jorge Linares, a Mike Garcia, and those guys. And I understand why they think that.
I wonder what's Linares thinking after watching this, and would Al allow Golden Boy to negotiate and make that unification now that Easter isn't looking as dominant as we thought? Because let's be honest, a guy 6'2", 6'1", 135, we thought this guy would be taking over the division, and he's not really showing how dominant he is.
No, especially when he had power, like in the beginning of his career. Like, he displayed knockout power originally. That's all but gone, I would say. Not all but gone, but he's definitely not knocking out top competition. That's a major concern. When he goes up against the guys that are, I would say, better boxers like a Linares, like a Mikey Garcia, will he be able to adapt to their game plan? Will he be able to hurt those guys and make them respect him? There's so many questions, I think, about Robbie Easter heading forward that I don't know really where to place the guy now in the division. Where he ranks amongst the champions, amongst the top 10. He needs a big win against a good opponent soon to sort of change the course of this public perception.
That is true. Now, the difficulty is that those big names, they're a bit busy. Mikey's fight was postponed and rescheduled now for March 10th instead of February. And Linares, he fights Saturday the 27th on the Lucas Matisse co-main card. But he has options. And again, Easter, not necessarily shining, where at least Errol got a win and looked good. Said the right things in the post-fight, looked even better. Outside of Golden Boy or Al, protecting if he needs to, do you think Linares is interested in a Easter fight? Is the title enough to entice Linares into that fight, or is it like this guy? Who is this guy?
Maybe, I'll put it this way. Anyone in that division, sort of like, who's that guy? Now, let's be honest here. Like, the only real name at 135 is no longer at 135, and that's Mikey Garcia. So I think Linares is a little bit in a situation of slim pickings here. If you're looking for a fight that equals money, then Robert Easter Jr. may be really all that's there. I mean, Terry Flanagan has left the division. He's going 140 as well. So the UK money is gone in a sense, and that was even Frank Warren money. That wasn't Eddie Hearn money.
Who's Hooker signed to? Rock Nation?
Yes. Or he was. I don't know if he still is, to be honest.
They ain't doing their job.
And I just think that I think Easter is in a situation here where he may be the only guy there that represents some sort of a drawing power with his Ohio drawing potential. We've seen be able to draw thousands of people from. Yeah,
but that doesn't necessarily mean much for Terrence. Terrence hasn't been able to. Crawford. That he hasn't been able to entice a big name to his hometown due to ticket sales. So why would Easter entice a big name to his hometown due to ticket sales?
It's not big home. I mean, not hometown fight. It's the fact that he can bring people from that hometown to New York, to Pennsylvania. We've seen that happen. I'd be curious to see, what he brought for this fight at the Barclays Center. If he was able to bring some people from Ohio, because they can track that. That's a way for the fighters to make an extra check in a way, is how many tickets you sell. I wouldn't be surprised if Robert Easter was able to sell a lot of tickets for this fight in New York. Maybe they're able to throw this fight at the Barclays Center or MSG in New York and be able to sell some tickets with Linares. I'm just saying that there is maybe something there, because really no one else in the division equals a belt and some sort of drawing power. Again, I'm using that term very relative at this point.
Totally agree. So Marcus Browne flattens Natutu or something like that. But the good thing is that David Benavidez couldn't do it in the same arena. There's some controversy when Benavidez beat this guy. But that's the only storyline I have for you. He got him out of there in one, though. Marcus may be coming into his own. Matt, we've seen him struggle, I know, with Hot Rod from Florida. But since then, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's been pretty much all knockouts. It's probably,
I believe it is. I could be wrong, but Thomas Williams' fight was a knockout. This fight was a knockout. What other fight did he have since then?
I mean, it probably would have been good for you to type his name while I was talking.
Well, I mean, my bad. I thought you were the box rec king. I just think Marcus Browne, like you said, maybe coming to his own. He may be peaking. He's getting, to me, he's filling out more too. He seemed bigger. He seems has a little more mass on him. His boxing seems to be getting better. His speed hasn't been improving. His power is there. Plus that southpaw ability that he has, he can definitely give a lot of guys at 175 some trouble. Whether he beat the likes of Adonis Stevenson, Badu Jack, and the likes, I don't know yet. But I want to see him in those fights. Can you imagine him against Kovalev? Can you imagine him against Badu Jack? Like, those fights instantly, to me, are salivating. Like, those are amazing boxing fights that we could see in this year. And I hope it happens. I think Marcus Browne is at that point in his career where it is a title shot. There's no point in fighting these guys. This was here for you to get a quick knockout for the highlight reel, keep you busy, give you a paycheck. But come on, Marcus Browne, you're ready for a title shot. Let's get the title shot, and let's see what you're made of.
Now, is it fair to be talking to Marcus Browne like, oh yeah, he's ready for a title shot, he's coming into his own, yeah, he's ready, whatever good praise we're giving him, when essentially this fight or this time would have been used to be building up an even bigger fight, not necessarily one that he would have got the money per se that that could have been attached to this fight if it happens a year from now. But definitely a fight that the hardcore fight fans know. And again, playing devil's advocate, not sure how many casuals would have cared about Alexander Goldcheck versus Marcus Browne.
Vajdik.
Yeah, Vajdik. So I don't know how to feel, Matt. I guess I'm asking you to tell me how should not only myself, but the boxing fans that, were a bit let down. And I know they're hardcores that said, oh shit, Marcus Browne's in an eliminator with Alexander Vajdik. And then it's like, oh shit, he pulled out the eliminator. Oh, but now he knocked out whoever this guy is. So like, do we I don't know. It feels like a roller coaster. Should I have stood on?
I definitely and watch that Marcus Browne didn't take that fight with Vajdik. I definitely understand that. I think it makes sense why those fans feel that way. We want our contenders and our prospects, or wherever you rank Marcus Browne in that category, we want them to face tough competition. Always. We always want that as a fan. We want to see the best fights as possible. And Vajdik versus Marcus Browne on paper was a perfect eliminator fight. Perfect. I agree with that. but that's not usually how this thing works out. Certain guys take other paths. Both guys have already
perfect no money, right? Like, let's be honest. Like, what I mean, again, if we're always gonna use Jamel Charlo and his defense versus Hatley at 100,000 as our gauge, what was Marcus getting to face arguably the toughest opponent till date?
I have no idea, and I would be assuming it's not that. I would be assuming it's not that on paper. It's 100K. Again, if the barometer is Jamel Charlo versus Charles Hatley, and the champ is getting only 100K on paper. I mean, again, this is boxing. Guys aren't making, 6-7 figures consistently. That doesn't happen in this sport. Sorry. But again, I think this fight to me is a fight that's going to happen later. Vajic versus Marcus Browne is 100% going to happen. It's not going to happen now. I think both promoters are smart to not make it happen now. You position both those guys for a fight against an established champion already. You want to put him against a Sergey Kovalev, a Adonis Stevenson, a Badu Jack who has some sort of prestige coming up a weight class. That's who you want your young, undefeated, potential next star in the division to fight, whether you're in Vajic's team or in Marcus Browne's team. It's in neither team's interest for that fight. But I understand why the fans are upset it didn't happen. But regardless, both guys are contenders. Regardless of your opinion on whether Marcus Browne ducked or whatever your fanboyism is telling you, both guys are contenders at 175. Marcus Browne and Vajic. And both guys could be champions in this calendar year.
So, Matt, in the last, 36 months, 24 to 36 months maybe, or 36 to 48 months, we've seen, I guess, an emergence of the European fighter, right? Yeah. Ukrainians, Russians, everything from Pavatnikov to Lomachenko, Kovalev, Godzvek or Godchek, whatever you called them.
Vajic. You don't pronounce the G.
Okay, Vajic. They've all come with some sort of fandom attached to it. Lomachenko has some Loma fans. Kovalev, the Crusher, he had some people that were behind the Crusher. He was able to trademark his, logo and create apparel. Usyk seems to be well received by the hardcore fans and boxing experts, HBO. Where's Godchek or Godvek fall in all of this? I just want to try and gauge how right of a decision it was for Marcus and his team to get out of this, eliminator.
From what I remember, I could be wrong, but Vajic is Russian and he has some sort of amateur history with Kovalev. Like they have some sort of beef or feud, I want to say. I could be wrong. But
it's not coming with this allure that maybe a Gennady Golovkin came with, or even
a Bivol. Like think about Bivol or who's the other one? God, why am I blanking right now?
Honestly, I think
Artur Beterbiev has some sort of prestige right now for the hardcores, right? Like the hardcores love Artur Beterbiev.
Actually, Beterbiev is the perfect example. I think that the mystique of what Beterbiev is supposed to be has lasted long. People still believe he's that guy, even though he's yet to prove it.
Very quickly, I got mixed up. Beterbiev is the one with history. Sorry,
yes, with Kovalev, they have about 4 fights.
And Vajic is Ukrainian, not Russian. My bad. I'm mistaken. I don't understand why there is a difference there. Why some guys get that push, why some guys don't.
Because you got to look at a guy like Kovalev. He was self-made. It's not like he had the Lomachenko gold medals and the Igis Klimov. Well, he does have Igis. He does have Igis as a manager, but he was a different product. And they were still able to make him shine.
Kovalev seemed like a blue chip champion in a way. He seemed like you're just a guy that wasn't the best.
I don't know if that's the right word. Remember that many promoters turned him down. Top Rank turned him down before Duva picked him up.
How would that?
I mean, blue chips usually don't get turned down. What are you about to say? How does that not make him a blue chip? Are you really about to go that route?
But blue chips usually don't get picked up, right? Are we under different definitions of blue chip?
Yeah, I thought blue chip prospect is someone.
Joe Smith Jr. is a blue chip prospect at one point.
I'm under the impression blue chip prospect means a guy that is nice.
No, I maybe I'm wrong about that. I feel like a blue chip is a diamond in the rough, like a guy that you don't see that all of a sudden comes into the
I had no clue that meant. I thought blue chip meant like he's a fish.
We could be wrong. We could be wrong. It doesn't matter. Rabbit hole. I think the reason that Vajdic isn't getting that. I think the reason that Vajdic isn't getting that shine for whatever reason is that he doesn't seem very vocal. Like, even though Kovalev is Kovalev, like you said, that he was sort of a workman-like guy in the beginning, he was talkative. Like, Kovalev could talk. He was willing to communicate, whether it be.
That's right. He did always come for Adonis. Remember, he was like, Adonis, chicken son.
And let's be honest, Loma is even, I think, really good at communicating. He has a very different way of communicating. He almost has that Triple G smile in a sense. But those guys were communicators. They knew how to communicate their persona, their style in a way that other guys don't. Vajdic hasn't done that.
Exactly. Even Gennady, all those guys you mentioned branded themselves.
Absolutely.
Lomachenko is now Nomaschenko. Kovalev has become the Crusher. And we don't know what Godcheck is. Triple G is Triple G. He made those three letters synonymous. I mean, you and I were walking in the mountains in California, and a Mexican was like, "Hey, what up, Holmes?" Just because you had the fucking Triple G hat. He said, no, actually, he said, "Hey, what up, G?"
And he definitely pointed at the hat and gave a smirk. So I'm just saying, branding yourself and finding a way to communicate who you are. That's a very important thing, being able to communicate who you are. Because if the consumer understands who you are, they can connect with you. And that's how you become a star. You have more people connect with you.
Come on. We know how many of these people are listening, so let's hurry up and give Godcheck his name, his slogan. Triple G has Gennady Golovkin, Triple G. You serious? Oh, tell your mom I said hi. That's his character, his personality. Lomachenko now is Nomaschenko. Crusher, he's got the same broken English, but he's like, I'm gonna kill him. He's a piece of shit. Dickinson. So all that's known. What are we gonna do for Godcheck? How do you say his name again? Because I think we should go the God route since it's so close to God in his name.
Well, you don't pronounce the G actually, so
but I think that we should. We'd have to brand them.
So, if we're his marketing team, right? That's the hat we're putting on right now.
Absolutely.
Ooh. Well, he needs a fight on TV. That's the one problem. His fights have been on pay-per-view, off TV.
Can you say his name one more time?
Alexander Vajdic.
Oh, it's Vajdic.
Yeah, like a V, like Va.
And it's almost like dick.
Yes.
That totally doesn't work. See, I was hearing Godcheck for whatever reason.
No.
But it's nowhere near that.
No, it's Vajdic. Yeah, Alexander Vajdic.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to come back to that. Yeah, he gets no slogan.
He needs a big win, and then
doesn't have a bomb squad. See what I'm saying? You have to. Keith has one time. Errol has the truth. Manny Pacquiao had Pac-Man. Floyd had Many. Pretty Boy. Money Mayweather. You gotta get that.
His nickname is The Nail. Yeah, there's the issue there.
He's lucky that my soundboard isn't all the way back. I would have hit him with so many negative sound bites right now. The fuck, The Nail. Him and the Hebrew Hammer need to hang out together then.
One joke for the month, Ness. That was a good one.
So Billy Joe Saunders is actually fighting Martin Murray. I'm not happy at all. I'm happy for Saunders that he's He's willing to fight whoever to stay active. But Murray is past this prime. And Murray's a common opponent, and Billy Joe isn't a puncher, so why do that to yourself? Why get in there with a guy that didn't Lemieux even fight Murray too, or no?
I don't know about that.
Well, Murray fought Rosado, who fought Lemieux, and Murray fought Triple G, who fought Canelo and everyone else. So for Billy Joe, I guess the only way to come out on top is another David Lemieux-like performance. Because he ain't knocking this guy out.
Maybe he's that faded, potentially. You know, maybe that's a factor.
Murray is durable as fuck, bro.
But agreed. I would assume he's able to outbox him. Martin Murray is not a good boxer. Martin Murray is a very basic, come forward, high guard, European, stereotypical boxer. Billy Joe Saunders is the exact antithesis of that. I would assume that Billy Joe Saunders is able to outbox him every second of the fight. Martin Murray is not to the level of ability that even a David Lemieux is. I think this is purely a stay busy fight. I think this is a huge backstep, in my opinion, in terms of competition. It's a domestic fight to keep busy, maybe get some asses in the seats, make a little tiny paycheck, and wait to see what happens in May. I understand why. I don't like it. I wish he fought somebody better, somebody a little more, I don't know, current, relevant. Anyone almost better than this.
So do you explain it to our listeners that are not understanding why Billy Joe Saunders basically fights what looks like on HBO and isn't fighting a now available Demetrius Andrade, Jamal Charlo, Daniel Jacobs, Luis de Cubas Aries?
Well, Cuba Aris obviously just had a loss, and I think, let's be honest, he was unknown until that fight with Daniel Jacobs. He became somebody because of Daniel Jacobs. I have not heard it from him since that fight, so I would not have liked the Luis Aries fight, just to be honest.
But would you like it any less? Would you like it any less? Because are you saying you like Murray more than Luis?
I think it's one of those where I don't care about either. I'll put it that way. Like, I don't even want to get.
I think it's time where, I mean, I hear you. It's a rabbit hole, but go ahead.
I just think that both fights are pointless. So there's really no debating which one's more pointless. Because they're both
I think that it is worth it, right? Because you see, a guy like Martin Murray, Billy Joe gets credit for him due to resume and who he's been in the ring with. So in retrospect, you look at it and it's like, oh, Martin Murray, yeah, he's been in there with this guy and that guy. He was in there with Sturm. He was in there with Gennady. He was in there with Macklin. Martin Murray's a durable name, but he's also past his prime. I think that if Billy Joe were to get in there with Luis, not to say that I'm beating the drum for Luis, just saying at least he's not past his prime. At least it's a guy that's still trying to win, whereas a guy that versus a guy that's trying to make a paycheck off his name. That's all I'm saying. But it is what it is. We touched on Billy Joe.
I want to get to your actual question because we delve into a rabbit hole off of the question that was not pertaining to the question that you actually asked. Why he's not fighting the Charlos, the Jacobs, the Andrades. Obviously, Jacobs and Andrade are on HBO.
Okay, Derevchenko is also available.
Yes. Obviously, Jacobs and Andrade are on HBO, so network affiliation is not the issue there. My opinion, I have no information, just my opinion. Jacobs versus Andrade is probably going to happen next. That's why we're not getting Billy Joe Saunders against one of those guys. The reason why we're not getting Charlo against Billy Joe Saunders is the obvious HBO versus Showtime issue. These are two networks that do not like working together. They only work together when they have to. And this is not a particular fight where they have to work together. So that's why you're not going to get a Jamal Charlo, Billy Joe Saunders fight at this point in time. Not saying that if Billy Joe Saunders and Jamal Charlo continue to win and the final two guys in the division, yeah, HBO and Showtime may work together then. But at this point, no, that is not the case. I forget who else you mentioned, but I think I pretty much answered as to why that is the reason we're getting this fight. Plus, domestic level money. I know that is something that we may not understand in the U.S., me and you, Ness, the listeners here, that are majority from the United States for this show, but this fight's going to make money in the U.K. Martin Murray's, like you said, known. He's fought everyone. He is 100% known in the boxing community. Joe Saunders right now is definitely a hot brand and commodity. I think they're capitalizing off of this peak moment for Joe Saunders with a domestic sort of money grab with a known guy, Martin Murray. I understand why it's happening. I think money makes sense, financially makes sense. And right now, the layout of the division sort of deems a step back, period. I just would not like a step back this much, but it is what it is.
Martin Murray is about 8 years older, almost 10 years older than Billy Joe.
I'm not surprised. Billy Joe Saunders is in his 20s still, I believe, right?
And he's coming off of 3 wins.
Mm-hmm.
2 of those are people we've never heard of, but at least one was undefeated. Murray was deducted a point, though, in round 12 for leading with his head. In the Rosado fight, which people thought he lost, and then another dude we never heard of. So, fucking boxing, bro. You just got to stick around long enough to get your shot. And you got to always work, right? Because, like, shout out to Caleb Truax. He made it happen. Like, this is Martin Murray's opportunity to beat Caleb Truax. Can he make it happen? We all will count him out. And, he's got to make us kind of swallow our pride if he's right. You want to go out to some Skype callers? Remember, if you want to hit us up on Skype, add Nestor Gibbs. You have to be friends to be part of the conversation. We're going to go out to, man, I forgot this whole computer thing. Let's go out to Jay Will.
Like I know, you should lie low. I used to get it in Ohio.
What's up, man? Yeah, man, my dude, of course, did his thing last night, man. I just, I don't know. I just hope you guys finally get on board, man. This is, I don't know, there's a lot of deflection going on from your boy Keith, man. It's getting silly, man. But I don't think, anybody should be hard pressed on Keith right now. He is coming off a little injury, man. But the way he sounds, it just doesn't sound promising, man. It sounds like it's going to be like 2019 before he even considered getting into the talks or negotiating a fight with this man. So, with him sounding like that, it's just not a good sign. But can't nobody really blame Keith right now for not taking that fight, man. That's just sounding foolish, man. But it was Mandow season. I don't know, man. It was just a good fight, man.
It was. So you sound like you're going with Errol.
Yeah, man. I don't know if you don't. I've been rocking with Errol for the past. I said he could beat Keith probably like 3 years ago, and we got into a nice little heated debate. And you was trying to, at that time, saying that this is when Danny still had the WBC, I think, and you were saying, he's not better than Danny at the time, and I think we all know he's better than Danny. And another thing about Danny, man, on the side point, man, he's trying to throw Terrence Crawford up as another roadblock in front of Errol before he would consider fighting Errol. He said, well, he needs to go fight Terrence first. Now, how is somebody without a belt dictating who somebody else needs to go fight before he's going to fight him? And that's just a shook move, man. Now, that's a little sidebar note, but honestly, yeah, it's I think Errol, maybe a close fight. It's going to be definitely Errol's toughest fight, but I think Keith will put up a good fight, a much better fight than Lamont. But I just think Errol's just too big, too strong, and Keith never fought under that type of pressure. And I think I don't think Keith can last. I think it will go 12, but I don't think Keith will be able to perform the way he normally does for all 12 rounds against Errol.
Are we forgetting that Sean Porter has more pressure than Spence and more volume?
It's sloppy. It's not really educated pressure. And it's sloppy.
But you said just pure pressure. Let's be honest. You just said pressure. Spence is not a guy that's really coming forward looking to finish you with quickness. He's just looking to box. You see that in the Lamont fight. I'm watching it right now. Like, he's not pressing on the front foot. He's not walking him down that much.
But I do get what Jay Will is saying about the educated pressure, because while Porter is all in your face, Matt, kind of like Hasael, Errol, his pressure is coming from a power standpoint. As you can see, even the double jab are strong jabs. The straight to the left is strong. And it's always coming forward in ones and twos, and it doesn't stop. And like Will said, it's educated, it's straight, it's not loopy, it's not wild, it's not, miscalculated, it's accurate.
But because it's so methodical, it allows a boxer like Keith Thurman, who's more active, who is on the move, to move around him, to pick
and think.
To think. It allows time. That's the big thing here. When you're a pressure fighter, you cannot give your opponent time. You cannot give your opponent time when you're a pressure fighter. That's the key thing.
Yeah, but only time will tell, though, because let's be honest, me being a Thurman fan, picking Thurman in the Porter fight, I never thought his back would look the way that it did from being on the ropes as much. So, we could assume that Errol's style will give Keith the time. But look at Lamont. Those shots landing on his forearms and his elbows as he was trying to block what he could. Bro, that shit took a toll on him, and it might take a toll on Keith.
I got one quick thing to say, man. One final thing. I do think movement, somebody who can move effectively, will trouble Spence a lot more than what people think. Because one thing that kind of
don't say someone, say Keith, man. The only one in the division with great wills is Keith and Crawford. And Crawford got to show he could do it at 47.
It's just the one thing I noticed in the Kell Brook pre-fight and that build-up, he was pretty much begging Kell Brook not to run. And I don't think it was just because he wanted to, prove how he can knock him out or stop me. I think he doesn't want to deal with somebody who can really box on the move like that. So I do think somebody like Keith, who can box on the move, will definitely give us some issues. But like I said, it'll definitely be the best fight at 147 we've seen in several years.
Jay Will, thank you for calling in. I'm going to just say that sounds, I don't know if we can believe what Will is saying, because like Errol said in the post-fight, he's been calling out Keith since he was 15-0. So he obviously has been watching Keith. He knows Keith is the mover, exactly what Jay Will is saying. But he's been obviously, wanting that,
What would you like to do with your next fight?
Everybody know I'm waiting on sometimes Thurman. I've been waiting for a long time. Since I was 15-0, I've been calling this guy out, and he keep making excuse after excuses. He need to hurry up and come back, fight a little tune-up fight, and then let's fight. I'm waiting on him. Let's get it on, man.
Excuses after excuses, man. How do you think Keith, his new wife, his coach? I know Keith and the fighters say, oh, that shit don't mean that, man. Ain't nobody worried about that boy. But come on. It's gotta bother. He was watching it.
But it's Keith. Keith, man. He's probably playing the flute, getting into that hippie vibe. He doesn't care, man. Come on.
I hear you, man. Let's go out to Iron Sal. I had the pleasure of meeting Sal. And next time we have some sort of event, you should do the same, because great guy. Lost about 46 pounds on our Border Wars weight loss journey, where he turned a listener into a fighter. And he performed tremendously. Sal, what's going on, brother? Talk to us.
Yo, what's good? Can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear.
What's up, man? While try to stick to the subject at hand. I'm gonna start with the Fortuna fight, man. I was real disappointed in the call. It kind of sucked that Fortuna got that pound. I mean, he deserved it though. You know, when they took the point away from him, he was putting down on his head quite a bit. But I think he edged the fight, and it kind of sucked to see how much that third judge gave Easter. But it goes to show that at the end of the day, my point was kind of proven where I felt that Easter won't be able to beat Mikey Garcia or even Lainez, because Easter's main thing that he could use in a fight is his height, and he gave that shit up real easy on the fight that just happened. He was trying to fight in the pocket and shit, having to throw some looping ass shots. I just feel like you can't go in there with that type of game plan against a Mikey Garcia or even a Lainez. So yeah, I still can't wait to see those fights pan out though. And about the Errol Spence fight, man, I mean, you got to give Spence credit, dude. I've always been a Spence fan, you know. So I am going to be a little biased when it comes to it, but I'm a big Keith Thurman fan too. But at the end of the day, I really feel that Spence should be way too much for Thurman, man. Thurman, he's a great boxer and stuff, but when it comes down to it, I feel like his shots come way too wide, man. Like when it comes to when facing an elite fighter like how Errol is, his shots come from the hip a little too much sometimes when he's on the rope. And I feel Errol's going to just make him pay for that. You guys seen how beautiful Errol went to the body, man. It's just relentless pressure, but it's smart pressure because his defense is his offense on the way in. You know, not a lot of boxers can do that. It's like on some Mike Tyson type shit. He's just coming forward and he's just setting up his next punch, but he's making you miss at the same time. So it's just a beautiful thing, man. It's just it's just a sweet science, you know. So I'm gonna wrap this one up real quick, but I do want to let you guys know that if you guys aren't on Patreon, you guys really need to, because just like Ness said, I did officially lose 46 pounds once I hopped on the scale for my official weigh-in. And if you guys haven't seen it, or if you guys ain't on it, man, you guys really need to check that out, because there was a lot of fights. All the fights were good. You guys get to see me put in some action. So if you guys want to see if my name lived up to the hype, then you guys got to go check that out. Ness went up against a young bull, and that boy was coming forward the whole fight. So if you guys want to see who won that fight, who lost the fights, tune in, man. Because at the end of the day, you can get in for $3. Think about it. You know, somebody you guys go out for dinner and you pay a waitress that sucked more than $3 a month. So I mean, go ahead and get that $3. At least that's here. I'm gonna catch up with you guys, man.
Sal, as always, thank you, man. And like I said, bro, happy that we got to meet, man. All you guys made it an experience, and I think you guys made it some pillow talk, man. I'm working the girlfriend, man. I need to get her out here or out there. Look, I already think I'm out there, Matt.
You said pillow talk? I thought you were talking about Sal and Tony and their newfound friendship, you know.
Ooh, shots fired. Yo, Tony could turn it around if he sucks down and takes on Warren. He's going to have to go all the way down. That's too much. Fern too. You know, you want them titles, man. That's where they at. So let's get back out to these phone lines. We got Scorsese. Talk to me.
Yo, you get?
We hear you.
Oh man, yeah. This
Dollar D Beyonce.
This dude's amazing, man. He's an ignorant fighter. He just does not give a damn about what you got going on in there. He's selfish in a way. He takes all the ring from you. You're not even in there with him. He was laughing at Lamont Peterson. Even when Lamont Peterson could finally land something, it was funny to him. You never seen nobody beat Lamont Peterson up like that. Yeah, you saw him knocked out before, but beat up the way he was beat up. Ah, hell no. Double swollen eyes and shit. Keith Thurman better keep his ass on that flute. He better go get married again, injured again, 2 times. Better get 2 wives out this motherfucker. Because, dog, that's an ass whooping right there. If I'm the welterweight division, I'm fighting around the dude. I'm fighting Porter. I'm fighting Garcia. I'm fighting Crawford. This dude ain't getting a fight. Why would I do this shit? Everybody else can make money too. Until the fans completely shut me out, I'm not fucking with the true Spence. No, you got to go to 54. You got to fight Jerry Hurd. That's what I'm thinking. This ain't fair to me. They didn't teach me how to fight like this. And this is all praise to this dude. High guard, defense, come forward, fast feet.
Sure.
Yeah. Y'all talking about somebody can run from him? Who? Chris Algieri had some of the best speed I know. He can't run. He couldn't go
Yeah,
nowhere.
because he ain't got the power of Thurman. Get the fuck out of here bringing up Chris Algieri.
baby.
Yo, who is
KM Star, mute yourself.
Who is Thurman knocking out on the back foot? I need to know this.
He ain't got to knock you out. He just got to make you cautious and make you respect.
Yeah,
like he made everybody respect.
Porter has a wobbly chin. Porter's chin he's been wobbled several times.
Yo, you seen the highlights on that fight, bro? He hit Porter with some.
Okay. How many times did he stop coming? None. The dude was in his chest night in, night out.
All right, and that's what he always do. Won't you name a fight where someone stopped Porter from coming?
Porter still does not respect him today.
Name a fight. Name a fight where someone else stopped Porter from being Porter.
You okay? All right. Same to you. Name the fight where Errol Spence has even looked to give a damn about. Kell Brook punches couldn't do it. You got a better dude. The dude is so much better than Sean Porter. Sean Porter's going around talking about.
I get it. I get it.
I'm not in the IBF rankings. No, you better stay out of them too.
I get it. You guys always get like this after a win. You know what I'm saying?
Nah. He's number 4 pound for pound. I put him behind Badu Jack. I mean, the dude showed you why he knows how to stop people. He doesn't get in the pocket like a Terrence Crawford, like a Manny Pacquiao, find his way to the pocket, land a shot, and then he's out the pocket. He finds the pocket, and he acts like a quarter and stays in the pocket, all right? Until your ass has delivered his drink from that vending machine, then you gone. This man's a beast, bro. That's all I know, man. It's beautiful. Somebody said it.
I just think you're hilarious bringing up Algieri and saying that's why Spence will beat every welterweight because Algieri had the best wheels. Man, get out of here.
Mentioning the feet. I'm mentioning.
Yeah, but you can't mention his feet without mentioning that he ain't got the power. Because when you get out of danger, you got to make him pay, and he ain't got nothing to make you pay with.
Kell Brook has a great feet. He has great power.
Great feet.
He came back late in the fight after he'd been hurt. And
great feet.
Earl might pull off. No, Earl pushed the gas.
I'm going to let you have your day, man.
Yeah, you got to, man. This dude's amazing. There's no need to be wondering. Keith ain't questioning. Don't question the fans. Just until Keith and somebody steps up and answer the question, don't question nobody.
See, that's right there where you prove that you're delusional. For you to even say Keith need to step up.
Yo, he act like he don't even want to be mentioned. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he ain't been injured, but when he got talking about I got to fight Garcia again. No, for real? You really talking about Garcia like I'm trying to hear that? Nah, bro. Don't play me like I'm stupid, Keith. You gotta fight the dude, man. He there. Look, I don't even want to fight. To be honest, I want him to go to 54.
I love it, Matt. I'm telling you. You know why? Because so many boxing fans are like, oh, there's no star after Mayweather and Pacquiao. And here they are. They're emerging. Keith needed to keep doing what he's doing. He should go on the Bum of the Month Club now. He should fight everybody but Earl and make y'all wait the way y'all did for Pacquiao. So we get another $20 million fighter here in the States.
Nah, he should just run to protect his health, to protect his life. And, because Errol Spence is breaking faces. Look, man, I don't know if Lamont Peterson's face was broke again. But
maybe Kell Brook is soft. Because Lamont face ain't break.
Had two, he came in with 2 eyes and he left with 4. Like, this is what this man be doing to people. This shit ain't. Look, he need to go to 54. Some commission should step in and be like, look, nope, this ain't fair.
Oh, my God. Yo, if he can make the weight, he could fight at it. Listen, Scorsese, we got to let you go. We got other callers to get to. We're going out to the UK. Idris, talk to me.
Hey, Ness, fam. You're tripping, right? Because, man, you're tripping on some next apple juice. I don't know what you're doing because you're trying to tell me that Keith Thurman and Errol Spence is the main fight in the division. It's Crawford versus Spence is the main fight. That's why everyone wants to see Thurman and Spence now because the big one is Crawford and Spence.
The big one. Crawford, the guy that hasn't done anything yet.
Nice. Very quickly before you get into Idris, what metrics are you using to make this assertion? Do you have any metrics on Terrence Crawford's viewership in the U.S. or Thurman's viewership in the U.S. in terms of TV viewership?
He's going to do his thing on ESPN, yeah. Spence needs to do his thing on Showtime right now and fight Thurman. Thurman, you lot are making it seem like Thurman is the guy to beat. He's not the guy to beat. He's got 2 titles and that's it.
He is.
Yo,
you disrespectful. You disrespectful. AJ got 2 titles and he's the fucking god, but Thurman got 2 titles and that's it.
Yo, Thurman has 5 million viewers on CBS. What are you talking about, Idris?
Division.
Yo, no other welterweight has done as many viewers as Thurman, so kick rocks, buddy.
All right, let me tell you something, man. You said Lamont Peterson has a better chance of beating Spence than Parker has of AJ. Like, where are you getting your opinion lately? I don't know, man. I've not been.
All right. So check it out, Idris. Now we just witnessed Errol Spence get a TKO referee stoppage. I bet you that Joshua knocks out Joseph.
Yeah, but look what he did to fucking Lamont Peterson, man. Look, he had him looking like Will Smith in Hitch when he went into that shop and. This guy's out here collecting orbital bones and eyes in his pockets after matches and shit. And you're trying to tell me that Thurman has a shot. Thurman's running away from this guy. He doesn't want no part of him.
I love it, man. I love it. Hey, Matt, I said Thurman was going to be the next Floyd, and this is exactly what's happening. There used to be pictures of Floyd with KFC faces on it, talking about he was a runner. He's running from Pacquiao. I love it. Get that money. Get that money time.
All right, so what? When Thing was doing that, when Billy Joe Saunders was doing that, you know, was calling Billy, oh, he's running, he's keeping it hostage. Thurman's doing that.
Well, obviously, because
hold on, Nestor. Let me jump in here. How is defending your belt against a 10 welterweight and Jesse Vargas holding your belt hostage? Because he's fighting Jesse Vargas.
First of all, you went down the wrong route. No. Hold on, Idris. Hold on. Because he's trying to say that we're protecting somehow Keith Thurman. See, the difference between Billy Joe Saunders and all those other dudes you mentioned is that they don't have an injury. Thurman has a legitimate injury that has him out of the ring. It's not like he's fighting other people and not Errol Spence. He's out of the ring with a legitimate injury, and you guys are so desperate for a fight that now you're calling him a ducker. He's running. He doesn't want to fight Errol. Give up your belts. He's has a legitimate injury, and he just faced 2 top 5 welterweights back to back,
and unified.
Errol has not done that yet.
And unified the division. He became a two-time champion. What are you doing here? Come on, Idris.
Hey, yo, I mean, this is the same guy who'll come in here and talk about AJ is a god, but he only got 2 titles. I mean,
Crawford came here to 1 million viewers on ESPN. Come on, B.
No, Crawford and Errol is the big fight because Bob Arum says so, according to Idris.
Can I speak?
I don't know. Can you?
Yeah.
Smart. Say something smart, please.
Ask everyone that calls, on their opinion, because this show is based on opinion right now, When they're calling you,
no. It's not. When you say everyone wants to see this, then you have to use numbers. When you start saying stuff like that, it's not just
generalizing, baby. Everyone. I'm not in your everyone fucking net. Don't cast me in your net.
Thurman pulls 5 times the viewers as Crawford. 5 times.
5.1, homie Holmes.
Come on, B.
Versus Danny. Him versus Danny. So when you hear a guy like what's his name? Low Place.
You told me Thurman's next 3 fights.
Name
his next 3 fights.
Jesse Vargas, Sean Porter, and Errol Spence.
All right, fair enough. I agree with that. That can happen.
Yo, you on Patreon? You know what he said already, doggy.
I just don't see him sit. Let me tell you something. Yeah, let me go on about Robert Easter Jr. quickly, innit, man?
Oh, you going on some more? Yeah. Holy shit, we giving you a 20-minute call.
Listen. Let me just say something quickly, real quick. Yeah, he's a bum, man. I see him getting beat last night, and I don't want to hear nothing about him no more, man. But listen, ask that question to the people that ring in.
Why? It's not. It's.
Yo, I'ma just tell Mr. Houston over here. He says Ness switch from Team DSG to Team Thurman full time now. How could I switch full time when I picked Thurman?
That is pretty funny though.
No, but then I picked Thurman.
Not in public.
No, I'm pretty sure everyone knew.
Okay, everyone in the know knew, but I mean, like, technically speaking, you did not make it.
Everybody that listen to this show knew.
True. Houston knows. He knows. Next caller, Ness.
Oh, you muted him? Okay.
No, how could I mute him? He's not on.
I don't know what you did. I don't know what you did, but we're going to KM Star. What's going on, buddy?
Hey guys, what's up? I gotta get used to doing this Skype thing. I tried Block Talk like twice. Were you guys at the fight yesterday? I was actually there in the arena. It was a good crowd and a good atmosphere. The seats I got were great considering the price I paid. I even went with my daughter. She loved it. So I gotta start with Robert Easter. Look, I'm not gonna go so far as to call him a bum, but only 1 or 2 rounds into that fight, you saw how limited he was as a fighter. Okay? And I don't even want to debate this nonsense about robbery versus non-robbery. I just want to talk about who I saw win the fight. And the easy way to defend that is, yeah, there were rounds that were ugly, and there were rounds where there was a lot of clutching, and all you had to ask was who gained the most by that and who lost the most by that. Who fought the fight that he should not have been fighting? Obviously, Fortuna gains from being inside hanging on, or with Easter hanging on to him. And obviously, Easter's supposed to be fighting tall and launching his shots from the outside, which he failed to do. So those close, ugly rounds, you don't give him the Easter because he's not fighting the right fight. He's fighting the wrong fight for who he's supposed to be. Anyway, I feel bad for those Ohio fans who took a trip out there for him because literally, I'm not going to say he can't fight, but he showed his limits. And he needs to get Mikey Garcia's name out of his goddamn mouth because Mikey Garcia will clean his clock easy. He has no hopes of beating Mikey Garcia. He looks that bad. That's what I came away from that fight seeing. Maybe the Golden Boy guy, maybe he can fight him. I think he'd lose that fight too. Moving on to the Spence fight, man, I could feel those body punches. I mean, I felt bad for Lamont Peterson just in the crowd. I was cringing from those shots. And last night I saw the thing that I didn't see from Spence before, which I think a lot of fans were looking for. He basically looked very tactical and efficient and intelligent. He didn't show great defense in some of his previous fights. But last night, he showed something different. He showed flash. He actually showed flash. He showed that he was head and shoulders above basically a top 10 welterweight. And if you look at his resume, working from Bundu through Algieri, through Lamont, I forget who he had just beat through Kell Brook. Like, this is getting to be an impressive list of names that he's basically stopping. Not just winning. Keith Thurman didn't stop Bundu, as we all like to point out, I guess. And to speak on this Keith Thurman thing, really quickly, look, anyone who knows anything understands that he should get himself back into true, proper fighting shape. It's that simple. You're dumb if you think he should come right back or that he's hiding from or ducking Spence. But I will say something different here. He is starting to look foolish. And that's what really counts. He is starting to look foolish. You want to know why? Because the conversation is starting to go toward, is he avoiding or ducking Spence? And the reason that's even being allowed to happen is because when they ask about him, he wants to focus on the next fight, and he kind of dances around the when. He brings up, this next thing I got to do, work my way back in fight. Then he talks about, what's this dude? You know who I'm talking about, who we fought already, Sean Porter. He talks about Porter, and then he kind of avoids saying, no, give me this guy. That's all he has to do to shut this shit up. Just say, look, I'm going to handle my comeback fight, and I want this guy as fast as I can get his ass. But I got to handle other business, period. That's all he has to say. But instead, he makes it look like as if he doesn't want to fight him. And that's why people are starting to call him out. He's being allowed to look foolish, and he has to cut that off right away by simply saying, yep, I'm going to fight that guy this year if I can. If I can fight him this year, I'm fighting him this year, period. And I don't know if you guys talked about it, but Porter and Spence would be a good fight. I would like to see that because it does, put a guy in front of another guy that it's hard to beat Porter. He doesn't have my favorite style. I think I've already gone on record with that. But that guy is not an easy out for anybody. And he's shown the ruggedness and toughness to really, gauge someone. So, I don't know who Spence wants to fight next, but I would like that fight at some point in time for him. And that's pretty much it. That's all I got to say. It was a great night. I was really impressed. I was a fan of Spence before, but I'm progressively becoming more of a fan of his. And I think he's the next Mayweather. I don't think it's Keith, to be honest with you, because of what I saw last night and all these fights. The way he's winning, he's dominating, and that's some very, very impressive stuff. And he's sparring with big dudes, and he's showing he's got a lot of runway. Like, he can go up a weight class, I think, already, to be honest with you. But anyway.
Thank you, Ken.
Yo, that's the bad part of not interrupting. He says so many good things. The last part he said he's sparring big guys and he feels that he could go up in weight classes. And I'll tell you, he told me Cam started he'll finish his career at 160. But like I said, so many good points you made. I didn't want to interrupt, so I don't remember some of the other ones I wanted to touch on. But we will keep the phone lines moving. We're going out to Jason. What's going on, brother? It's actually Legendary Boxer. How you been, bro?
What's going on, man? Before I start, I was gonna say, you guys remember all those stories that Dan Raphael's Lainez was putting out about Spence making $3 million? That was debunked last night. Also, he only made 1.2. He did the same exact thing with Mikey when he decided not to sign with the Golden Boy. He was like, "Oh, Mikey didn't sign with the Golden Boy because they're giving him $3 million, and he only got $1 million also." So that was all fucking horseshit stories just to make it seem like people left Golden Boy because they were being offered so much fucking money. That was all fake news. So before I go any further, I just wanted to state that. Also, another myth that's been going around the past few months, you need a fucking promoter. You need a promoter. How the fuck did Spence sell 12,000 tickets last night without a promoter? And Crawford barely sold like 5,000 in Madison Square Garden with Top Rank, the leading promoter in America. How did that happen? Can somebody explain that to me?
No.
Why?
Matt, at least play devil's advocate, Matt.
Because Spence has been pushed by the industry since the Olympics. Crawford was a blue chip prospect from the beginning that came into his own and became a hardcore darling. It's very different optics.
Crawford has gotten a better push than Crawford. HBO has been on his nuts for the past 3 years. Like he's some pound for pound. Like he's been beating fucking legends. Come on, don't give me that shit, man. Come on.
Well, even that HBO would talk about Spence.
Where is he getting a major push? He fought like twice in 2 years.
Do you realize that same HBO they talk about, Max Kellerman talks about Errol Spence on every telecast he can? And they don't even have Errol Spence?
They gave away thousands of tickets for Crawford's fight in New York, and Spence sold 12,000 last night. And I don't think Peterson maybe sold a couple of thousand, but majority was Spence. They came out to see Spence also. Shit. Go ahead. Ness, what were you going to say? Why do you think they're selling all these tickets without these promoters? Everybody's like, you need a promoter. Mikey and Browne sold 12,000.
Yeah, well, they do got a promoter, though, Jason. I mean, let's be real. I mean, Lou DiBella handles everything in New York City. The card was stacked with New York City fighters. Adam Wanaki, the heavyweight from New York, got another knockout. Marcus Browne, the heavyweight from New York, the light heavyweight from New York, got another knockout. There was plenty of local.
He's like a part-time promoter. And I was going to say, why? How come nobody in the YTBC ever mentions that Crawford always somehow ends up fighting the weakest fucking champions? First it was Ricky Burns, then it was Postol, and now it's Jeff Horn. It's starting to seem like a pattern. Every time he steps up in
it's Top Rank. It's Top Rank.
That's what Top Rank is doing.
People like mad all over his nuts like he's some pound for pound king from beating these weak. Crawford, Spence will walk through all these fucking bums like Burns and Postol and Horn. We all know this shit. Even he'll probably beat fucking Burns, I think. And Crawford gets all this fucking, even Stephen A. Smith is all over him. He's telling Spence, why aren't you mentioning Crawford? He's a special one, as if he's beating somebody great, but he hasn't beaten anybody great. Postol and fucking Gamboa are his best wins. Spence would murder those fucking guys.
Of course he would. He's a division higher than them, or 2 divisions higher than them.
Yeah, but it's the way Crawford did it. You can't take that away from him.
And again, those guys aren't who we're talking about. We're not talking about Ricky Burns or Victor Postol. We're talking about Terrence Crawford. This isn't boxing math. You do know that, right?
It's boxing, but Crawford always seems to pick the weakest champ. That's a pattern to me. I don't know. I don't like
Top Rank pattern. Top Rank has always done that.
Well, you guys should call it out. I never hear you guys.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? We do. Ness does it continually.
Yeah, Ness does it, but you most people don't do it. Ness will probably do it. He'll play the devil's advocate, but nobody else does it. So
what do you mean that I don't do it and Ness does it? When we talked about Oscar Valdez's title reign, we I'm using that word. Look up the definition of that word. We shitted on it. We have continued to shit on Top Rank's promotional style in the sense.
That was like a show or two ago.
That was like a week ago. Like, I don't know what your criticism here, what your points are. It seems like you're trolling, to be honest, Legendary Boxer.
No.
Ness, can you
No, he's not. He's not.
Dan Raphael, why he put out those fake 3 million numbers and the person ended up being 1 and 1.2 million? Can you ask him that? Because
but
stories have been going around.
Where have you seen that the purses are 1 million? Because remember what's
Dan
reported.
Raphael posted the real person last night on his Twitter, 1.2.
And who posted the fake? Who posted the fake person?
Yeah, he said Raphael.
So Raphael posted a rumored purse, and then he posted the real one. That seems like journalism.
No, he posted those rumors when they declined Golden Boy, as if to say, "Oh, the only reason they didn't go with Golden Boy is because Heyman dangled $3 million in front of them." That was all a part of a plan to make Golden Boy look good, because everybody knows Golden Boy is a fucking dying company. You know they fucking leaked that fake information to him. Nobody who else Dan Raphael they're getting $3 million besides somebody like Eric Gomez or somebody.
Do you have any other conspiracy theories to talk about, or can we
No, why you hating on? I love all this. I really do.
So you think?
I don't think Dan Raphael is part of this cabal to make certain fighters look good. I don't think Dan Raphael's a part of that.
Yeah, but those two guys that went to PBC instead of Golden Boy, why? Why do you think he did that?
Sorry, I didn't hear the first part of the question. What was that?
I said, why do you think Dan Raphael specifically when
he was told that. He was told that by a source. We are told things by sources all the time.
Yeah, but dude, that 3 million number, you just think about it. That number was so outlandish. They just did it to make Golden.
Why was that outlandish? Why? We've been told. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. We've been told off the record that some of these PBC champions are making $3+ million on off disclosed money that they are getting. That these champions may be getting only $1 or $2 million on disclosed payment, but they're making $3+ million. They are.
That's illegal. You can't even do that.
Yes, you can. You can do that. You can do that. It's called a bonus.
Yo, Chavez did it, and he posted his check. You forgot,
dude. That's you can. Of course, you can do that. Come on, man.
But all right, guys. That's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to say that promoter aren't always the best thing. Spence and Mikey and all these guys are selling $12K with part-time promoters, so you don't need to sign a fucking slave contract with Top Rank or Golden Boy to do that shit. And fucking Cotto did like 10, 11,000 with Golden Boy too. So people are like, yeah, Spence needs a promoter for what? He's doing that shit without it. And this was not even Spence's hometown. Think about that. This is New York. What is he going to do in Texas? He could spell 20,000.
Yo, man, but you're out of control, bro. You're trying to act like Spence did that shit alone, man. That's Lou DiBella. That's his street team.
Yeah, but Lou DiBella is supposed to be one of the shittiest promoters. What about Top Rank? Why can't they sell 12,000 with Crawford? And he's the pound for pound king, according to some.
Because Top Rank doesn't do monthly shows or weekly shows in New York City. They don't have grassroots New York City fans. DiBella does. DiBella runs Broadway boxing
every week.
Every fucking week, dude. He's building New Yorkers. He's got, listen, if I'm a fighter, my mom's coming to see me. My aunt's coming. My brother's wife, my brother's sister, you know what I mean? Like, his wife's sister, like, and those fans turn into fans of other people on the card. To say that Earl did that alone, ridiculous. But it is Lou's job to make it look that way. But, you as a listener of this show, you should know, man, that there's like guys like Chris Colbert, bro, who put his undefeated record on the line versus Titus Williams on the last Barclays Center card just to sell tickets, man, just to get that New York City crowd out there. Adam Wanaki and Gerald Miller went on strike. They said we won't fight each other for that amount of money to be on an undercard, So nah, bro, you got it all fucked up. And Lou ain't no fake promoter, man. Get the fuck out of here. Remember, Lou was an HBO exec first. He used to be whatever Peter Nelson is now. All right. And think about the fighters that Lou has. Fake promoter. Fuck, man. Sergio Martinez was 19 years old when he started boxing, bro. Fake promoter?
And again, you may not be in the area, because what a promoter does is sells tickets. That's the main job of a promoter, is to sell tickets.
No, the main job of a promoter is to get his fucking fighter paid. Get his fighter not only paid, but the biggest possible shot.
Event, because he brought up ticket sales a lot. So, I mean, I think that's what he was trying to get at for specifically that.
I hear you, but as a promoter, your job is to get your fighter paid and get him to a title shot, because every fighter wants to be a champion.
Hold on, before you cut me off, let me finish my point. You only can see that if you're in the area. You cannot tell how a promoter is doing in terms of trying to sell an event for tickets unless you're in the city. If you're not in New York, you don't know how many billboards are being displayed, how many bus ads there are. You don't know those simple stuff, how many radio ads are being called out. You don't know those simple stuff. You know, so if you're in the UK, LA, or in another part of the world, and you're looking at Lou as like, oh, he's a shit promoter that only gets the New York fights. Yeah, but look at the ticket sales he's continuing to produce.
Yo, Keith and Danny did fucking what? 16,000?
Yes.
16,500. That's Lou. Obviously, that's the fighter as well. But damn, I had another point I wanted to say. I said, let me teach you something else. It was another fighter. Another fighter. Boom. Okay. Texas. You think Mikey is going to Texas with Lipinets because of who? Because of what? Because he's Mexican? And just because of that, you think he's going to sell? What about Devin Alexander and Victor Ortiz? You think they going to El Paso because Victor's Mexican and he was on Dancing with the Stars? No.
Or do they have Richard Schaefer?
That's not the way it works, legendary boxer. You know, no, it's not even Richard Schaefer, buddy. It's
Richard Schaefer doesn't have
It's Leija Bata, man. Jesse James Leija and Lester Bata, you know. All those people, that whole street team down there, that they're grassroots. Those guys that had little Mario Barrios on amateur shows way back when he was just a San Antonio amateur. You know, those guys that know Earl's father and know the gym that Earl trains at and knows the rest of the amateurs there. Those guys are going to be responsible. Those guys are the same guys responsible for Canelo doing 40,000 because every region has a Lou DiBella. You'd be stupid to go somewhere without one. You need someone on the end giving you the end. But that's what we do around here, teach. Just remember, this is not just a podcast of opinions. You know what I mean? You get a lot of facts here. Like,
and very quickly, I just want to address this because he brought up some fake news. Like he brought up like conspiracy theories about, you know.
Yeah, but don't shoot those down. Don't shoot. I love those. I go off those a lot. Like I love theories.
Again, we've never seen Dan Rayfield to ever be biased towards PBC. We've never seen that. So I don't see conspiracy theory.
But I think that you were. I think what he was trying to tell you went over your head. I think it's the narrative that he's saying that Rayfield is trying to portray. And what's wrong with what he's saying?
Why would Dan Rayfield, who works for a network who has a deal with Golden Boy, shit on Golden Boy?
He's not. No. See, you took it wrong. I knew it. It's not what he was saying. What he's saying is that Dan Rayfield is putting out fake news to make PBC look bad. Like Al Heyman is offering astronomical amounts of money so that his guys don't sign with Golden Boy, pushing the same narrative of like him trying to control boxing. That's what you see. Is they sell so much, bro.
Maybe because I don't view that as a negative. You know, like if you're trying to offer someone more money, how is that ever a negative? Maybe that's why I don't think that. But again, I don't think Dan Rayfield is a part of a conspiracy. I think Dan Rayfield saying, hey, they were offered this money, and then he comes back and says, no, they were offered for this money isn't fake news. That's journalism. That's doing your job. If a source tells you wrong information, you come back with the correct information. And according to what Legendary Boxer said, that's what Dan Rayfield did. Even if I misunderstand what the first initial part was, I believe I'm still correct on that.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I still hear Legendary's part because what he's saying is Rayfield is the one that reports that Mikey and Earl denied taking, didn't want to sign for $3 million to fight Cotto. And then he turns around and says, oh, actually, Earl only got paid $1 million and Mikey's only getting paid $1 million. But he just told everybody, like, oh my God, look at Al Heyman doing it again. He's offering him $3 million just so he don't sign with Golden Boy. He's trying to monopolize. You know what I'm saying? You get it now or no? Because if you got
it. In my opinion, Dan Rayfield, like you just said, has always had a bias against PBC more so than for.
But that's what the fuck he's saying. Oh my God.
And
we don't call him out on it. That's what he's saying.
Oh, Ness, we just submitted. We agreed that I misunderstood that first part.
Oh, okay.
We're agreed. We're agreed on that. That I misunderstood Legendary Boxer.
Oh, listen.
I still don't think going out with conspiracy theories is the smart thing to do. I don't think it's like the network's telling him to do it. I just think Dan Rayfield has some probably personal issues.
Matt, I think you're too political on this, and you got to understand this is a call-in show. Legendary Boxer is using the platform to voice his opinion.
I understand that.
It's our job, you and me, to bounce his theory off and see does it have any sort of credence to it.
I understand that, but then it's also my job to always protect the brand. And if there's a thought or opinion that I think is either incorrect, false, or potentially damaging, I'm gonna dispute that.
Those thoughts and opinions are not our own, nor of our sponsors.
Agreed.
Brand. They're of the callers that call in, and again, we're just debating those opinions. But remember, we got a new. We had to do some things, so there is no outro. So, boom, boom.
We gotta find that beat. Because that's been a staple of TBV for years.
It's almost like Billie Jean. But yeah, I'm your host, Nestor Gibbs. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at NestGTO. Don't forget to head on over to patreon.com and check out Border Wars. You want to see the epilogue, man. If you think Mayweather McGregor epilogue was something hot, check out Border Wars epilogue.
That is true. Shout out to Mickey.
Quality insane. Yo, you will not regret it. Also, head on over to our YouTube channel and check out what Keith Thurman had to say about Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, and even little Jeff Horn. Fresh out the oven. YouTube.com/The Boxing Voice. NESGTO on all social media. Matt?
I'm Matt, the Hipster Hunter. You can find me at Mixed Combat News on Twitter, Matt Hunter TBV on Instagram, MMA Podcast, Mixed Combat Radios on Patreon, SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, etc. Remember, patreon.com/The Boxing Voice to find all sorts of extra content, hours and hours and hours of extra content, Wake and Bake, Standing 8 Count, Border Wars, Overtime, so many more podcasts you can listen to if you want to get your boxing fix in. It's been a good one. Glad to be back in the studio, even though I miss Ness being right there and we can just talk, but, maybe someday.
2018 goals.
Peace.
Later.